Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been quite a while since my last upload, but I can finally say that we're back and I hope I can be a bit more consistent this time. Over the past year or so since my last upload, I've worked on a few things and I'll let you know about them later on, but today I wanted to talk about TACT, also known as the Transcendental Argument for Christian Theism. If you follow this channel for a while, you'd know that my preferred apologetic methodology is best referred to as a form of Van Tillian presuppositionalism. And one key feature of Van Tillian presuppositionalism is its use of a transcendental argument when it comes to the defense of the Christian faith. Now, you should understand, if you've watched my series on transcendental arguments, which you can check out in the playlist section of this channel, by the way, that the transcendental argument for Christianity aims to establish, at the very least, the rational or transcendental necessity of Christianity. What this means is that it aims to show that it is impossible to rationally deny Christianity. The way it goes about showing this is by establishing that the truth of Christianity is a necessary precondition of rationality or intelligible experience. Now, one major objection to transcendental arguments in general, and the transcendental arguments for Christianity in particular, raises the question of the possibility of a uniqueness proof for whatever it is we want to establish using the transcendental argument. In other words, the question is whether a transcendental argument is able to establish that a particular belief uniquely provides the necessary conditions for some general principle or operative feature of human experience. In the case of the transcendental argument for Christian theism, the objection asks whether it's possible to show that Christianity, and Christianity alone, provides the preconditions of rational and intelligible experience. The intuition behind this objection is that there are numerous and possibly infinite alternatives to Christianity, so it seems impossible to refute them all and establish Christianity as the only precondition of rational thought. Proponents of the transcendental argument for Christian theism have responded to this objection by pointing out that there is only one possible alternative to Christianity, and that is its negation. The idea is that even though there are multiple views which could be seen as alternatives to Christianity when it comes to providing the necessary preconditions of rational experience, they are all predicated on a single unifying principle, and this allows them to be grouped together logically. And therefore, the real alternative to Christianity is this unifying principle, and a uniqueness proof is possible by refuting this principle. Opponents of the transcendental argument for Christianity have responded to this by asking what exactly this unifying principle is. It seems clear, it is argued, that the various alternatives to Christianity posit different things and that, if they fail at all, fail to provide the preconditions of rationality in different ways. The validity of this argument is seen in the way the proponent of the transcendental argument engages with different worldviews. For example, when engaging with a materialist atheist, the proponent of the transcendental argument would usually try to refute this view by pointing out that a materialist metaphysical scheme cannot account for certain immaterial realities presupposed by rational thought, such as the laws of logic. However, when engaging a Muslim, such an argument would not suffice, and the proponent of the transcendental argument would take a different route. This seems to show that, in practice, the transcendental argument for Christian theism proceeds by a case-by-case refutation of the alternatives to Christianity, rather than a sweeping refutation of a general unifying principle. Now, this line of reasoning is not entirely wrong.
Even in my experience, once I began getting a better grasp of presuppositional apologetics and transcendental argumentation, an objection like, well, what about other forms of theism, would usually come up after one shows that atheism cannot provide the preconditions of rational thought. Now, this can be seen as a kind of cop-out from the unbeliever. However, it lets us think about what's going on in the background whenever we use the transcendental argument for Christian theism. In practice, whenever we engage the non-Christian, we are engaging a specific variety of unbelief. However, we must not lose sight of the underlying principle that unites all flavors of unbelief. We must keep in mind that the atheistic flavor of unbelief, the Islamic flavor of unbelief, and whatever other flavor of unbelief there is, all fail for the same reason. And what is that reason? I propose that all varieties of unbelief are united by their rejection of Christian revelation. In one way or another, unbelievers, be they theistic or non-theistic, reject the fundamental truths revealed in the Christian scriptures. This rejection leads them to reject the lordship of Christ, which defines the Christian faith. And this rejection of the lordship of Christ stems from a rejection of the doctrine of the Trinity. The idea of the ontological Trinity is the most fundamental tenet of the Christian worldview. The triune God is at the center of the Christian doctrine of God, and therefore all of the Christian metaphysical picture. All non-Christian belief systems, then, are defined by their rejection of the existence of the ontological Trinity as described in Scripture. A transcendental argument that truly and uniquely proves Christian theism will be predicated on this understanding and will cash it out philosophically. And this is the subject of my latest book, The Best Argument for Christianity. In it, I investigate what makes the Christian story of reality unique. I identify, in accordance with Scripture, the ontological Trinity as the foundation of the Christian understanding of the world. The conclusion drawn from this is that all non-Christian belief systems reject the idea of the ontological Trinity, and by rejecting the ontological Trinity, they reject its necessary entailment, which is the idea of metaphysical personalism. A large part of the book is spent framing the disagreement between the Christian and non-Christian as a disagreement over the truth of metaphysical personalism. The Christian, believing in the ontological Trinity, affirms metaphysical personalism. The non-Christian, rejecting that, affirms metaphysical impersonalism. Cashed out in this way, it becomes clear that there is no middle ground between the Christian and unbeliever. The underlying principle that unites all variations of unbelief is the affirmation of metaphysical impersonalism. By way of definition, metaphysical personalism is defined as the thesis that there exists a metaphysically ultimate person. Metaphysical impersonalism, then, is the negation of metaphysical personalism. All non-Christian worldviews reject the Trinity and therefore affirm metaphysical impersonalism. Therefore, by demonstrating that metaphysical impersonalism fails to provide the preconditions of rationality, it can be demonstrated that Christianity, and Christianity alone, provides the preconditions of rationality. And the rest of the book goes on into demonstrating exactly that. I had a lot of fun writing it, and I hope you're blessed by it. If you're interested in getting it, it is available on Amazon in both ebook and paperback formats. You can get it through the link in the description. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you today. It feels good to be back. I have a lot of content planned, so stick around and subscribe so you don't miss anything. And I'll see you in the next video.